So, the new Scream 2022 movie just came out, and it wasn't that bad. I actually kind of had fun watching this one. I don't need to explain much about the plot, and probably don't need to say much about the movie itself, but I'm still going to anyways, just cuz. To be completely honest, I had seen the movie a few days ago, but this review is already a week late. God, I'm already pretty bad at this. But I don't really care. It's my upload schedule. Fuck you. I saw this one with a friend, so we could talk about the jokes and kills while watching it. I recommend doing the same thing, just so you have as much fun, but that's just me. A lot of people are already pretty familiar with the Scream franchise, so I don't need to mention that there are cheesy lines and characters make dumb decisions. Those are already pretty much a staple of the series, and the better movies in the franchise are pretty self-aware and know how to make fun of those aspects without feeling forced. This movie isn't trying to be more complicated like the sequels, but also it isn't trying to entirely rip off the original. A lot of these reboots try just being the original because it gets people in the seats. I mean, hell, it's what got them in the seats the first time. Honestly, one of the main reasons I went to go see this movie is because Jack Quaid's in it. I don't know if you've seen him in other stuff, but I like his performances. I think he's a good actor, and I figured I'd get the same sort of performance here. The plot isn't super messy. Characters are pretty fun in this movie. The scenes with action are engaging. The horror aspect of it made it feel like its own identity, and the killer reveal was fine. Knowing these movies, I wasn't blown away with all of the surprises, but for someone fresh to the series, it has a pretty fun experience in store for you. I can't really talk much more about the movie without spoiling the first 15 minutes of it, so there's your warning. After the opening scene, the story starts with the typical horror movie cliches like the wooden acting, teenage drama, and typical setup. I didn't know it was intentional at first, but then later on when I watched the movie, I figured that it was. This movie served as a pretty good homage to the original. You don't really need to watch any of the older movies except for the original to get this one, so it's pretty good for general audiences. Now, this is sort of a weird hot take, and I'm sure someone later will kill me for saying this, but I think that the new Scream movie is a good sequel to the original Scream movies in the same way that The Force Awakens is a good sequel to the original trilogy. Just like The Force Awakens, it takes situations and elements from the original and builds up your expectation of what you think is going to happen, only to have a new twist on it that goes in another direction. And when this is done well, it works. And I think for Scream 2022, it works fine. You expect the first girl to die right off the bat and set up the movie, but she actually survives the attack. The movie does way more twists like this as it goes on, while making the expected slasher movie stuff more intense. Something I didn't think I'd like about this movie is the world building. Strangely enough, you don't expect a franchise like Scream to have world building, but in the first movie they were pretty numb to the situation, even making jokes about it until people started actually dying. And in this movie they are really numb to it, because they already know the rules of these movies. They know that if you're related to someone important, you're gonna die. And they don't really take it too seriously until they realize that some of these rules do not apply. They learn that no one is invincible in these movies and anyone can get killed at any moment, so things get a little more serious. Now, there are a little bit of things that I had issues with. There are far too many scenes with the characters getting super meta. It was cute when you had one character sort of trying to play by the horror movie rules, but when all the characters are doing it and the plot is carried by it, it kind of got old really quick. That's probably my biggest complaint, but it didn't ruin the whole movie for me, so it's fine. Also, Courtney Cox is not doing the best job here as Gale Weathers. You can kind of tell that she's done too many of these movies, and that's sort of the joke for all the older characters coming back, but she sort of just goes through the motions for this one, and it's a little distracting, but once again, it didn't ruin the whole movie for me. To be honest, I don't really like Gale Weathers in the other movies. She doesn't really do much, and I kind of hope that she would die before this movie. Everything about this movie works. It doesn't try too hard, and the little stuff is really just me being nitpicky. Yeah, I could sit here and tear apart every single thing that I hated, but I'm not going to do that. And overall, I did actually enjoy the movie. I don't think that it's going to completely ruin my experience just because there's little things that I didn't want to see for the billionth time. Like I said, I don't really have much to say about this movie. Overall, Scream 2022 is fun. Turn off your brain and just laugh at how stupid the movie gets. It is still charming as the original Scream movie, so you got that. It's cute, and I would probably rewatch it, but with friends. Take someone with you for this one. It's more of an experience that way. Like I said, there's not much about this movie. Scream 2022 gets a 7 out of 10.